History has witnessed many rulers, but few have left as lasting an impact as Cleopatra VII, the Queen of Egypt. She was not just a monarch, but also a brilliant strategist, a skilled politician, and a woman whose intelligence and charm made her one of the most fascinating figures of the ancient world. While she is often remembered for her beauty, her true power lay in her ability to navigate the treacherous world of politics. Her connection with Julius Caesar was not just a romantic affair. It was a political alliance that had the potential to reshape the Mediterranean world. When Cleopatra arrived in Rome, she did not come as a mere guest. She came as a queen, bringing with her luxury, power, and a child who was claimed to be Caesar's son. But her presence in Rome was not welcomed by all. The Roman elite were scandalized, the Senate grew suspicious, and the common people were left in shock. Was Cleopatra truly in love with Caesar, or was she playing a dangerous political game? To understand this, we must go back and examine the events that unfolded during her time in Rome. The story of Cleopatra and Julius Caesar is one of the most famous love affairs in history, but it was far more than just romance. It was a political union that had important effects for both Egypt and Rome. In 48 BCE, Cleopatra found herself in a dangerous position. She was locked in a power battle with her younger brother Ptolemy XIII, who had taken control of Egypt and expelled her. At the same time, Julius Caesar had arrived in Alexandria, reportedly to settle the dispute, but also to collect Egypt's unpaid bills to Rome. Cleopatra knew that if she wanted to retake her throne, she needed Caesar's backing. Since Ptolemy's troops were watching the house, Cleopatra could not simply walk in. So she came up with a bold plan. She had herself rolled up inside a blanket, or a linen sack, according to some versions, and sneaked into the house. When the carpet was dramatically unrolled before Caesar, out came Cleopatra, young, bright, and driven. Her bold arrival instantly impressed Caesar, showing him that she was no ordinary queen. Caesar was in his early 50s, while Cleopatra was in her early 20s, yet he was deeply drawn to her. Unlike most kings he had met, Cleopatra was highly educated, skilled in multiple languages, and well-versed in politics, philosophy, and science. She was not just a pretty queen, but a boss with an eager mind. More importantly, their partnership helped both of them. Cleopatra needed Caesar's military power to beat her brother and protect her throne. Caesar saw Egypt as a critical ally, a rich and strategically important land that could increase Rome's power in the east. With Caesar's backing, Cleopatra regained her throne, and soon after she gave birth to a son, Ptolemy XV, also known as Caesarion, Little Caesar. Cleopatra claimed that he was the true son of Julius Caesar, which further improved her political situation. However, this claim caused great debate in Rome. Caesar already had a son in Rome, his grandnephew Octavian, and the idea of an Egyptian child being his replacement angered many in the Senate. This was just the beginning of the storm that Cleopatra's presence would cause when she later arrived in Rome. Cleopatra's arrival in Rome was not just a formal visit, it was a political storm. Her appearance alongside Julius Caesar deeply upset the Roman elite, and soon whispers of suspicion, fear, and plot began to spread throughout the city. To many, she was not just a queen, she was a threat. The biggest fear among the Roman Senate and nobles was that Caesar, already the most powerful man in Rome, was planning to make himself a king, something the Romans had hated ever since overthrowing their royalty centuries ago. Several things added to these fears. Caesar's rising power. He had been named dictator for life, an unheard-of move in Roman politics. Cleopatra's queen impact. Unlike Roman women, she ruled in her own right. If Caesar married her, would she become Rome's queen? Caesarion's presence. Cleopatra publicly claimed that her son was Caesar's heir, questioning the standard Roman line of succession. To many lawmakers, this was a clear attack on the Republic. If Caesar legitimized Caesarion, Rome could fall under the rule of an Egyptian family, something the traditionalists would never allow. Cleopatra's presence in Rome sparked anger and fear among Caesar's opponents. The idea that Rome's best general was being affected by a foreign queen was too much for many to accept. Some of the most important lawmakers, including Brutus, Cassius, and Cicero, hated Cleopatra's influence and thought that Caesar had come under her sway. They accused her of influencing him and turning him against the Senate. Cleopatra was an outsider, a stranger, and a woman who held great power, something Rome had never seen before. This made her an easy target for gossip. As emotions rose, Cleopatra became the subject of nasty rumors. Roman society, known for its love of gossip, began to malign her. Some called her a sorceress, saying she had charmed Caesar with Egyptian magic. Others spread stories that she used poison, magic, and charming tricks to influence him. Many saw her as a dangerous temptress who had no place in Rome's political world. Even the famous Roman orator Cicero wrote about his dislike for Cleopatra, mocking her extravagant ways and accusing her of arrogance. The Roman people, already uncomfortable with Caesar's growing power, saw Cleopatra as the woman who had come to change everything, and they did not like it. As the hate against Cleopatra and Caesar grew, his enemies started planning his downfall. The Senate, fearing the destruction of the Republic, saw only one solution: Caesar had to die. By 44 BCE, the situation had become too dangerous. A group of senators, including Brutus and Cassius, planned one of history's most famous murders. Cleopatra's appearance had not only changed Caesar's fate, but had also played a part in sealing it. In 44 BCE, Rome experienced one of the most shocking events in its history, the killing of Julius Caesar. This was a turning point not just for Rome, but also for Cleopatra, who was still in the city when it happened. On March 15th, 44 BCE, a group of Roman senators, including Brutus and Cassius, brutally cut Caesar 23 times in the Senate House. They thought they were saving the Roman Republic from a man who wanted to make himself a king. Cleopatra, who had spent nearly 2 years in Rome, quickly understood that her situation was now dangerously weak. Without Caesar's protection, she had no friends left in the city. The same Roman class that had hated her presence would never accept her or her son, Caesarion, as part of Rome's future. As political chaos spread across Rome, Cleopatra made a quick decision. She had to leave before the Senate or Caesar's enemies turned against her. She gathered her company and her son, Caesarion, and quietly left Rome, going to Alexandria, Egypt. For Cleopatra, this was not just a flight, but a return to her throne. She had lost her most important friend, but she was still the Queen of Egypt. She knew that to live, she had to find a new political partner who could help her keep power. Back in Egypt, Cleopatra began rebuilding her plan. She knew that Rome was still the most powerful force in the world, and she would need a new Roman guardian. Her chance came when Mark Antony, one of Caesar's most loyal generals, rose to power in the years following the murder. Though she had lost Caesar, her story with Rome was far from over. The next part of her life would feature another Roman leader, another legendary romance, and another high-stakes political bet. Cleopatra's trip to Rome was far more than just a love story. It was a carefully planned political move. She came not just as Julius Caesar's girlfriend, but as the Queen of Egypt, looking to improve her place in an ever-changing world of power and betrayal. Her time in Rome left a long impact, She affected Roman dress, society, and political discussions. She tested the Roman elite with her foreign practices and royal power. Her presence worsened relations between Caesar and the Senate, playing a part in the events that led to his killing. At the same time, Rome also left a deep mark on Cleopatra. She experienced directly the cruel nature of Roman politics and knew that life needed relationships with the right people. This experience changed her future, leading to her next great alliance with Mark Antony. Even today, Cleopatra remains a divisive figure. Was she a clever tactician, using her skills to protect Egypt? Or was she simply a charming queen, manipulating strong men for her gain? Perhaps she was both. But one thing is certain, her story, especially her time in Rome, continues to fascinate the world centuries later. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and leave a comment with your thoughts. Subscribe to Explore Ancient Times for more fascinating stories from history. See you in the next video. Until then, take care and keep exploring the past.